Hello Internet, it's so good to have you. Welcome to our Elevate online experience and welcome to week 3 and the final week of Recession Proof Your Life. It's awesome to have you. Like our channels, share our channels, and subscribe to our channels so you get notifications that we're on during the week and you might pick up on some bonus footage. For week 3 of Recession Proof Your Life, our worship partner is another church from Texas. They're called Gateway Worship. Maybe join in with the words on the screen.
Sometimes I'm full, sometimes I'm not. I'll bless your name, no matter what. If emptiness is all I've got, Jesus, it's yours. Jesus, it's yours. Oh, let this be my sacrifice, a yielded heart, clean and contrite. No matter what this worship costs, Jesus, it's yours. Oh, Jesus, it's yours. I just love you. I just love you, God. I just love you. I just love you, God. God, if you give or take away, your worthiness will never change. So here's my life, my highest praise. Jesus, it's yours. Oh, Jesus, it's yours. 'Cause I just love you. I just love you, God. I just love you. I just love you, God. Oh, there's no one like you. I will not bring that which costs me nothing. You've given more than I deserve. So I offer you a love that's burning, only because you loved me first. I will not bring that which costs me nothing. just love you. I just love you, God. I have this thirst, only you can satisfy. My heart, it burns with an all-consuming fire. I search and seek, but you're never hard to find. The more of you I see, the more that I desire. I need you more than the air that I breathe. You captured my heart, every beat. You're pulling me closer. There is no one else. There is nothing like your love. With every taste I get, Jesus, I can't get enough. I need you more than the air that I breathe. You captured my heart, every beat. You're pulling me closer. I need you all that I am at your feet, to pour out my love and to praise you over and over and over. The more I know you, the more I want to, and I can't get enough. The more I know you, the more I want to, and I can't get enough. The more I know you, the more I want to, and I can't get enough. Oh, the more I know you, the more I want to, and I can't get enough. I need you more than the air that I breathe. You've captured my heart, every beat.
So here it is, guys, the moment you've been waiting for, week 3 of Recession Proof Your Life, taken by our very own Mark Pomeroy. If you missed the first 2 weeks, head over to any podcast app that you choose and check it out on Elevate Church AU, or check it out on this channel.
Well, hey there, Elevate friends and family. Great to have you with us today for the third and final week of our series, Recession Proof Your Life. We actually teach a series on financial management every single year, and that's the name of this year's series, Recession Proof Your Life. And we typically teach our financial management series around April, May each year. However, this year we decided to bring it forward primarily because here in Australia and in many other countries around the world, we're very much riding a turbulent financial roller coaster. Interest rates are going up, rental prices are going up, cost of living's going up, utilities, groceries, all of those things are going up, and yet at the same time, wages for many people aren't keeping pace. And this is really causing some real world, practical, everyday challenges for people to have to navigate. It's inspired memes like this one. Do you keep your money in a bank or at home? In my memories. And that's, what it kind of could feel like as you're having to outlay more for things that essentially you've been buying or spending on just as a regular part of your everyday life. The good news is that we don't have to be passive. This idea that we're riding a roller coaster that for some people we had no choice in, and even people that have been managing their finances well may be impacted, it doesn't mean there's nothing we can do. And see, whilst we may have been caught a little bit off guard or by surprise by the financial roller coaster, guess what? God hasn't been caught by surprise. And over thousands of years, God has had a lot to say about how to manage our finances in the good times and the bad times, in the drought and in the abundant. One of the clues is something that we've been double-clicking on every week. It's something that God spoke through a spokesperson named Jeremiah, and this is what God said. Stop at the crossroads and look around. And that's very much what we're doing in this series. Ask for the old, godly way and walk in it. And if you travel its path, you'll find rest for your souls. The old, godly ways. They might not be glamorous, they might not be popular, but here's what they are. They're proven. And so week 1, we highlighted the very beginning. The first old, godly way of managing finances is to put God first. This idea that if we honor God first with everything, including our finances, God actually promises that He will in return honor us. And then last week, we taught on the importance of paying off debt. That despite the fact that we live in a culture where debt is common, we need to understand that debt is not God's best, and debt will not allow us to experience financial freedom. So if you missed either of those 2 weeks, you can go back on this channel and watch them, or you can jump on your favorite podcast app, search Elevate Church Perth, and you'll find it there. Today I want to talk about building up savings. Now, let me step back. Each of these weeks we've underscored the reality that different people are in different stages of their financial journey. Some people are in what we're calling the behind category. Things that are typified by stress and debt and inability to make payments. And that's not great, regardless of how you got there. The good news is you don't have to stay there. There are some practical things you can learn and choose to do that will see you move forward from behind to caught up. And then there's some of you that you're actually in that caught up stage right now, and you're not feeling the stress of the people in the behind category, but guess what? there's another step for you to take. There's more progress for you to make. You don't have to just be settling for caught up. There's the opportunity to get ahead, to make a greater impact, to have the financial freedom to be able to decide where to send and where to spend the money that God's entrusted to you. And that's a place where you can be excited to be more generous, excited to set up opportunities for the next generations. Now, here's the thing, and I acknowledge this. Today we're talking about building up savings. If you're in the first of those two categories, behind or caught up, building up savings is not your now step. Your now step is to pay off debt. And until you've done that, then it's not actually a wise thing to even begin building up savings. But here's the thing though, the same discipline and the same habits that you apply to eliminate debt are the same habits and disciplines that you can then carry over and continue your forward progress and actually start to apply those disciplines and those habits to building up savings. Now, if you've got your smartphone, use your camera to scan this flow code. It's going to take you to Dave Ramsey's 7 baby steps. Now, Dave Ramsey is one of our go-to financial gurus. He's a Jesus follower. He's a kingdom guy. And he's got this idea, this concept of 7 baby steps to move from being in debt to being financially free. We highlighted the first 2 last week, which focus on the people who are in debt. So step 1, save $1,000 for your starter emergency fund. This is just like when it breaks, you won't have to go further into debt. You've got that little bit of money socked away. Step 2, pay off all debt except the house using the debt snowball, which on this very same website, ramseysolutions.com, you'll be able to learn more about the debt snowball, although I did talk briefly about that last week. And then save 3 to 6 months of expenses, step 3, in a fully funded emergency fund. And then there's 4 more steps. These first 3 steps, it's important to understand every single one of these first 3 baby steps require margin. Margin created by spending less than you earn. And that's not happening for a lot of people. A lot of people are living with no financial margin. There's a lot of reasons for that. One of the reasons is we live in a prevailing culture that tries to send us the message that happiness is just one purchase away. And so we get sucked in and we make the purchase, and guess what? You didn't get the happiness that you thought you were going to get, but that's okay, because happiness is just one purchase away. And people just live on the limit or even over the limit, and therefore have no financial margin. Now, these first 2 weeks of the series, I quoted some shocking debt statistics from here in Australia, but many of the same trends apply to various countries around the world. Let me show a couple of shocking savings statistics, which again, these are Australian based, though can be applicable, I'm sure, to other countries in the world. Here's a couple. 44% of Australians have less than 1 month of expenses saved, meaning if you suddenly lost your income source, lost your job, a health issue, whatever it was, these people, nearly half of Australia, couldn't last 1 month. And then, slightly lower category, 23%, less than 6 months of expenses. Same thing. If something was to happen where they weren't able to work or earn, or the business went bust, they could only last for 6 months. This isn't good. And so we're going to have to learn how to consistently create margin. Now, I'll just say this. This is important. to understand and to ensure that you know that I understand. If you're a lower income earner in the current economic climate, it's challenging. I get this. I absolutely do. I can only imagine it's frustrating. And particularly if you're a low income earner who's been managing your finances well, and through no fault of yours, the cost of living's gone up and you're just finding that you're struggling to stretch every dollar and try to make it go further. I'm not going to give you any glib, simple solutions. That's challenging, 100%. So really today, I'm speaking more to people who probably ought to have created some margin. You know, their income would be such that, looking back, they had the opportunity to create some margin, but many didn't. If that's you, listen up to Solomon. And Solomon has a lot to say. Solomon was the second king of Israel, wisest person that ever lived, wrote a lot of his wisdom sayings down into what we now call the book of Proverbs. And we've quoted several of these last 2 weeks. Here's another one, a slice of wisdom from Solomon when it comes to managing finances using old, godly ways. The wise man, or the wise person, saves for the future, but the foolish person spends whatever they get. This was written thousands of years ago, and we can say, well, everything's changed since then. Let me tell you something that hasn't changed. First of all, the human heart hasn't changed. And secondly, God's principles are timeless. And so they're just as relevant and powerful today as they were thousands of years ago when Solomon wrote this. And so savings plays a part in God's recommended approach for financial management. In fact, the way we've sliced and diced it as best as we can understand, the biblical approach to financial management looks simply like this: give, save, live. In that order. And a lot of people put a number on it, something like 10, 10, 80, which in practical terms looks like this. You earn $100, just hypothetically. This approach says that you will take the first $10 and give that to God through the local church. You will then save the second $10 or pay yourself second, and then learn to live on the $80. Everything that you have to live on comes from that $80. And when I say pay yourself in that second category, pay yourself, give to God first, pay yourself second, $10 out of the $100. Some people are like, what do you mean pay yourself second? I got paid, that was the $100. Well, not necessarily. $100 came into your bank account, but doesn't mean that you got paid. In fact, what typically happens in many people's cases is $100 comes in to your bank account called your pay, your wage, your salary, and you'll hand over $40 for the mortgage, $20 for groceries, $15 for utilities, $10 for petrol, $5 for streaming subscriptions, and then you've got $10 left and you'll spend that on once. Or some people have $10 left, but they spend $20 on once, aka credit. And what happens as the result of that is that $100 that came into your bank account didn't stay there. It went through your bank account and it went to mortgage provider, landlord, grocery store, utilities companies, and so on. And you're left with $0 at best, and sometimes negative $10 if you've gone into debt to buy some other stuff. So we're talking here about creating margin. We're talking here about step 2, give to God first. Step 2, save, pay yourself second. That's the margin. That's where you can effectively give yourself a raise. And one of the simplest ways that we use and recommend people do this is to automate it. that you set up 2 bank accounts. One is called your spending account. Now, the bank might call it a savings account, but let's just be honest. It's a spending account. And then have a second separate account, and yes, call that your savings account. And here's how it plays out. Your pay comes into your spending account, and then automate that first 10% to go to God through the local church, and then automate the second 10% to go from your spending account into your savings account, and just let it sit there and grow. And then what's left in your spending account, it's your spending account. So use that for mortgage, rent, groceries, utilities, petrol, subscriptions, etc. The 80%. Learn to live off the 80%, having first given to God, having second paid yourself, and then live off the rest. Now, look, I'm just going to get super practical right now as we finish this message, finish this series. Show you just a few areas of reasonably low-hanging fruit that you can actually put into play to create more margin in your financial world. And really, it requires playing better offense and playing better defense. It also requires discipline, patience, and self-control. Let's not gloss over that reality. Let's start with offense. This is, again, something that Solomon wrote, some wisdom, timeless wisdom. Take a lesson from the ants, you lazy bones. Learn from their ways and become wise. Though they have no prince or governor or ruler to make them work, they labor hard all summer, gathering food for the winter. This should be just like, hey, thanks, Captain Obvious Solomon. Because have you ever seen an ant stand still? No. They're always working. When there's food available, they are on the move, gathering it up. Because they don't know how long it's going to last. We don't know. Where's the next lot going to come from? We don't know, but while it's there, we are working. I remember several decades ago, I was living in a share house setting, and I came home one day, opened the front door, walked into the dining area, and the entire floor surface was covered with ants. And I don't mean like just like a smattering, I mean like a depth of ants. I wasn't sure there was a vacuum cleaner in the world large enough that could have ultimately scooped up these ants. I've never seen anything like it. It was like a CGI thing. It's like, what in the world is going to be? And I looked across the dining room, and one of my share house mates was trying to clean up these ants. And I'm like, what is going on here? And they said kind of sheepishly, well, I dropped a few raw eggs on the floor, and then I went out, and then I came home, and there was ants getting into the eggs. And yeah, I did exactly what you expect I would do in that situation. First of all, I said, well, why didn't you clean up the eggs in the first place when you dropped them before you went out? And secondly, I think this share house agreement is over. I mean, I'm calling 000. This is... Whew. But see, the ants knew there's eggs there. We're going all in on this thing. Now's the time. Now's the opportunity. Let's get into it. Play good offense. So if you need to create some margin, you might need to start playing better offense. Here's a very easy, probably the lowest hanging fruit starting point. Sell some stuff. Go into your closet, go into your kitchen, go into your shed, go into your basement, go into your attic, go into wherever you've got stuff stored that you don't use. You haven't used it for maybe 6, 12, or let's even be kind of fair, 24 months. If you haven't used it, make eBay, make Marketplace, make Gumtree, make your local pawn shop your new best friend and sell it. And then take that money and put it in your savings account. Now, that's not an ongoing long-term solution, but what that will do is it'll jump-start the process for you. Okay. Maybe you need to take a second job. Maybe you need to start a side hustle. There's plenty of ways to do that, more than ever before, as a matter of fact. But as you do that, as you look to play better offense and create more income streams, therefore with the goal of creating more margin, don't make the mistake of increasing your expenditure. Because if you do, you'll be right back where you started and have no margin. No margin, no savings. No savings, no progress. And again, as much as that sounds obvious, you know people, and maybe you are someone who has seen your income go up over a period of time, maybe several years, couple of decades, whatever that might look like, and you've got no margin, or that person you're thinking of has no margin, and there's a very simple explanation for it. It's what economists call lifestyle creep. Earn a little more, spend a little more. Earn a little more, spend a little more. Earn a little more, spend a little more, and kid ourselves that the solution is to just earn a little more. But we earn a little more, then we spend a little more. Whereas the solution is earn a little more, spend the same, save a little more. Okay, final thoughts. This is defense. How you can play better defense. And these are just simple, everyday things you can put into play. These are in no particular order. Some of you might already be doing this. I'm sure many of you can add to this list. If you can, drop some suggestions in the comments, by all means. So it's not an exhaustive list. And it might even spark some more thinking, more ideas of how you can play better defense. But look, here we go, real quickly. Number one, defer buying once. If you're seeing your cost of living go up, but your wage not matching pace with that, then the wise place is to say, look, if you've got some wants, it's not that they're a never item, but it could be like, can I hold off another 3 months, 6 months, 12 months until hopefully the economic climate has stabilized a little bit. Unsubscribe from email lists. Chances are you've signed up, you've bought something in the past from an online seller and they've asked you the question, do you want to be added to the mailing list? And you click yes. Or the problem with that arrangement is they're sending you messages that fuel the temptation for impulse buying. And you're sitting there on your computer and something comes in and it looks too good to be true. And you say, shut up and take my money. But by unsubscribing from those mailing lists, you're saying, shut up because I want to keep my money. And instead of being told what you need, when it comes to you needing it or wanting it, you can then go hunting for the best deal. Don't pay retail. Maybe for a time, take the nuclear option on your lifestyle. I recommend this for people who are declaring war on their debt, but I also recommend this for people that really want to get a good, solid, healthy jump start on building up savings. Take a pause on dining out. Learn to picnic. Learn to grill in your backyard. Do you need that TV just now? Do you need those new shoes just now? Do you need that new car just now? Do you need that new phone just now? If the answer is no, I don't really need it. I want it, but I could hold off another 6, 12, 24 months, then maybe do that. And that'll create some margin, which you can then sock away in your savings account. Switch grocery stores if you're shopping at the one you've always shopped at, and yet there's a couple of new kids on the block that are ostensibly cheaper. You're paying the loyalty tax, and you don't need to pay the loyalty tax. And here's a final one. Unsubscribe from some of your subscriptions. Just like I talked about lifestyle creep, there's also a thing called subscription creep, where you've added Netflix, and then you've added this TV service, and then this music service, and then this paid service, and then this app that you pay for and every month or every year. And one of our team did this 2 weeks ago when as a result of us teaching this series, and they were able to slice out $50 a month of subscriptions to apps and services that they weren't using. That's $600 a year, people, into savings. So, look, there you go, not an exhaustive list. A very short series. We hope it's been helpful, punchy, practical. And by all means, share this with your friends. These principles aren't just Jesus follower principles. These are God's principles. And they can work for everyone, work for people. So share them with the people in your sphere who can benefit from this. And next week, Tom's probably going to give you this tip, but in case he doesn't, we're launching a brand new series called Love Like Jesus. We'd love to have you here for that. Bring someone along, maybe have a watch party in your home, and that's really for the build up towards Easter, preparing our hearts, our minds, our focus, what it really means to love like Jesus. So we'll see you back here then.
If you are at home and you've been enjoying our content, maybe you would like to reach and build into more people just like you all over the world. The ways to give can be found just below. So there it is, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Next week, a brand new series called Love Like Jesus. See you then.